Hello everyone, welcome back to the Okadan Research channel for a new video named A Year to Remember. A Year to Remember is the name of the book or transcript from that journey supposedly Ralph de Sudley went through America in the Scrolls of Ontario. One of the documents is called A Year to Remember, and I thought it was a nice pun. What I want to do today is well, let me show you. First of all, the usual disclaimer, even though I'm not going to use, I think, any other material than mine. And 1 year ago, on January 17th, 2001, I started my first video on YouTube that you cannot find anymore because I removed them. There was 5 of them, I think. And they were the preliminary findings. We were going all direction at the time, and it was going too fast, the number of discoveries per day. So I decided to pause, shut down the channel for a couple of days. If you guys have been following since the beginning, you remember, or maybe you forgot about that event. And it's on January 17th that I made my first video. And what I would love to do with you today is rebrowse all those 37 videos that I produced during exactly 12 months. And have a look if now, 12 months later, after all we found with Michael, of course. How can I forget Michael? I can't. Totally part of the process and on everything we discovered. And I'm talking of dot to dot, of course. And if you haven't checked his channel, I'm sure you have, all of you, of course. We work as a pair together. So, yeah, what I want to do is now, 12 months after the first video, is to understand where we're wrong, where we're right. Are these information still accurate? Is it meaningful now that we kind of understood what was the purpose of the map, how it was to be used? And let's just have a rewind on last year. As I mentioned in my previous video, please subscribe if you haven't do so. It's not about me getting rich at all. It's just the fact that this channel is a European one, and it doesn't have the same priority on YouTube as an American one. We understood that with Michael. There was a huge gap between his exposure and mine. Of course, it started a bit earlier than me, but still we think it's due to the fact I'm broadcasting from Europe, and the algorithm telling YouTube what should be displayed on a request to anybody in the US will favor US sites. So one way out of this, if you like this channel, if you like the content, and if you want other people to benefit from it, just subscribe, and it will help the algorithm pick up the channel and put it up front. So I restarted my channel after 5 days being shut down with what I thought was a better sequence. And that's why I created video 0, which was called Research Reloaded, explaining what was the purpose of the study, how we were going to do it, and etc. I had a comment lately, a couple of weeks ago, about somebody telling me, hey, you're not following your own statement anymore. You're going all direction with that cross, the angle, looking for islands in France and Seborgia. And yeah, well, that's what we did up front, and we did that for 25 videos until we explained the Volt theory. And Michael and I got the feeling, now that the Volt theory is out, that's it. That's the reason why this map came out, is for us to locate those milestones on the actual island. And now, of course, we're going further and getting more inspiration for connex subjects linked with, of course, that chase and discovery. So was this Research Reloaded relevant? Well, it's relevant. The content is approved by myself. It's me. I'm going to judge and rank my own videos, which is going to be interesting, and try to be truthful and objective when I do that. But yeah, this is the introduction. If you haven't seen this video, it's just a good context when you start from the beginning. What are we trying to do? The second was this video, which was very early in the process. At the time I wrote this, I was not in touch with Michael yet. I was on my own. I was following his channel, and it was the video just before his geometric progression. So it was quite early. And on my side, I decided that when was this map written and created? It cannot be older than the words inside of it. The word iPhone, you will not find the word iPhone in a 1960 literature book or anything. iPhone We had to wait for the device to exist, to be named, and now we got it. So if I got a document with the word iPhone in it, I know it cannot be before something like 1999, 2000. I can't even remember when. An iPhone was like 2008 or 2009. So it would allow us to date the document. And even though Michael and I don't agree on one or two words, the overall approach I think is good. And if you want to know the oldest possible date of this, or the most recent possible date of this document, just check this video number 1 and you'll get the answer at the end, according to me. But again, Michael differs a little bit on some of the term. So this one is approved. It was a good way to start research, and using National Scientific Research in France dictionaries, I could date most of those words correctly. The next is the beginning, and I was very surprised to see when I was creating the deck of slides here, there was only 400 views on this video. This video explains the moment where, looking at Michael's work and me doing my lines on my side with a lot of intuition, I already had the VER line, the line that east-west line that Michael is currently using on his latest recent video. That line was identified, but we didn't know when or what. You can see it here. Actually, it's let me highlight it. It's good to see it. It's there. It's that line here that goes to the VER area, the V, and the V go to the center of the quadrant. It's that yellow line. And that was very early, and we wouldn't have suspected this line had so much importance for the later research. So if you're curious about how Michael and I met and why we met, and as I was talking to him this week again, we call that a fortunate accident. We're not supposed to find this. As you can see, at the time, the alignments were off. We're not that good, huh? Look at this alignment. Now those lines correspond. And again, the east-west line is now perfectly aligned. I mean, we got better understanding what we had to do to step-by-step and geometrically design those lines. But at the moment, this was just intuition of me taking my work, taking his work, overscaling one with the other, overlaying one with the other, and understanding, yeah, we're talking about the same thing. When I saw, for instance, this area here, yeah, that was close enough for me to think there's something there. Maybe this line is out there and meeting this point. This line and this alignment look similar. This matches. I mean, there was too many coincidences, and that's when I started to talk to Michael, and that's the best move I ever made. So this one is definitely approved. Have a look if you hadn't. Only 400 views. It's a pity. It's a good story, and might help us. It help you understanding how we met. The next one is a series of attempts to work out what the fish could be used for. And what I thought was the fish was the island, and it was explaining the kind of the run circle you have to go through. And for each of them was the location on the island of some of the text. That was my 7 clues to get out of 7 riddles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because Les Chênes on top of that in the middle. There's 2 and 5. I don't know why I got one more. But maybe the fisherman's friend, the sea bass as an angle was not part of it. Anyways, after so many months now working with the map and etc., I would say only 30% of what's inside here was meant to be found. Okay, I stretched it out, some of them a little bit, but the idea here again is to use the map to lay out lines so we can position the map and then use it by geometric construction to find those landmarks and those milestones. And I thought there was a riddle for each, or each would carry a riddle that would give us significance on how to use the map. And some of them do better than others. There was one about La Soupape with the Pope. That's a dead end. That Pope name doesn't resonate anywhere else on our research. La Hanse was good because it was proven to be, look at Michael's video if you want to know what's proven to be. The hole under the trapdoor, it's all about analyzing that French text and finding errors and using those errors to our advantage. But overall, you know what? I'm not super satisfied with it. It had to happen. It had to be done to clear out those riddle part. And the riddle now we know concentrates in Ce dessin pour Monsieur François Larochefoucauld in the top right corner. That's where where the verset is. That's where the playing with the word is. And there's not as many in the left part of the map, even though I thought originally there was, and even though they helped me a lot at the beginning, because even though they're not there, for some reason, some of them work. Not all of them, it's not systematic, but, you know, finding the hole under the trapdoor and the eye of the fish, making the first line, that's how I did it. Whether it was meant to be or not, that's just the story. So now, if I look at it, it's some of it's got average content, some of it's got poor content. If you're interested and curious about my mental way of thinking and decoding, proposing a decoding, it's worth it. But I wouldn't bet my salary on the accuracy of those utilization. Let's be frank. The next section deals with the paintings of Da Vinci, where by pure chance on episode 13, I found out that the geometric construction of Oak Island had something to do with the geometric construction of a Da Vinci painting named The Virgin of the Rock, according to the Louvre Museum in Paris, who drew that picture, explaining that's how the painting is laid out. And believe it or not, when I saw that, having been working on the map on Oak Island for 6 months, it's just flashed in my eyes saying this is the same, and I prove in that video it is indeed the same. I carry on with further studies. Instead of overlaying the map on the painting, I overlaid the painting on the map, and it gives incredible results. The latest video, the two latest from this last month, were about the Seborga Church and the Saint Honorat Church, and Da Vinci's presence around through the Forza family. And the final one with the signature that I found, and there'll be more videos because I got more things to say. This, to me, with the decoding of the map and the Verline and understanding and the Volt theory, this is to me one of the most extraordinary findings, and I still can't give a meaning to it, a full meaning. I'm still totally in progress with this, but I feel there's something behind this that's bigger than anybody thought, about knowledge that's been transmitted to certain people, and I say this content is definitely approved by me. If you haven't watched those videos, rush to them in sequence, in order. You might be amazed by the possible discovery and meanings of what's in there. So that's, to me, one of the greatest set of video I produced so far. Let's carry on. We had the language of the bird, which is very interesting. It comes from Rennes le Chateau mystery. It explains that troubadour and gesture language to hide messages, as Michael explains it very well in one of his first new videos about the language of the bird. And there's a whole video about this, decoding what it is, how it works, who used it, and why it is relevant to our world. So this one, to me, approved. Very good video if you don't know about cryptology and language of the bird. The next one were the Adventures of Ian. Oh my gosh, I remember the afternoon when I discovered this. And you can watch the video number 15. I had it upside down to start with. I thought it was a swimmer, somebody scuba diving underneath and reaching a cavern. And it's Michael who said, no, look, turn it 90 degrees and check it out. And that was such a beautiful discovery, because it's such a smart design, that Ian guy. So if you don't know about Ian, you gotta watch video 15. And video 19 about what Ian should do with the 3 steps. I think it's relevant. We haven't got on the island any proof of this, but the fact it was coded, actually I don't believe anymore in that 155 depth. If you watch that video, no, it's not at 155 feet. I don't think so. But, you never know with Oak Island. So this one, yeah, great video to watch. The next one. The next one is, now that we understood how Ian worked, we understood the symbols used to code the descent down the earth, the money pit, the what is to be found, the shovel, and by deduction came to a conclusion that there was not one treasure, there was 2 of them. One was buried on the island, one was out of the ocean. I don't think this is really relevant. I'm not sure there's a second one out of the ocean, but at the time, and using the decoding techniques we had, it made sense to propose it at least. So this content is average, but kind of fun because it opens other areas. Then I made a set of videos trying to understand who was doing what in that story between Zina Halpern, Don Rue, Bill Jackson, all that nebula of people. Well, I don't put Zina in it because to me Zina is not the same as the other lot. But who were they? And that letter from Don Rue saying that Zina Halpern is a fraud, and Michael, I proposed, and Michael demonstrated it was indeed totally fake. That document proving the rest is wrong. So you can't trust this one. I was pretty harsh at the time with Don Rue, to the point claiming at one point maybe Don Rue, invented the whole story and Bill Jackson never existed. It was his imaginary friend. I don't think that anymore. Michael and I spend a lot of time, especially Michael, on the books from the Skulls of Antera. Zina Halpern read them twice, 3 times, 4 times. And a couple of months later, I feel I was wrong to accuse Don of making up everything. He's not straightforward. Is a funny one. Like this letter is definitely a fake. That's a fake. Claiming something else is a fake. But he's not 100% black or 100% white. It's in between. And Michael did such a tremendous job trying to tell the story, at least to me, before he makes any video about it. He pretty much decoded the source, the origins, and how each of them was involved. So this one, there's some good content, like demystifying this letter. But other than that, I wouldn't spend too much time on these. If you want to go further, there's information in it, but is it relevant? Say yes and no. The next one was the lead seal. Very interesting. Was my video at the time that had the most views. It was about that lead seal they found on the island, and I thought it was a good idea to contact people specializing in lead seal, and there are forums on Facebook, and I just blatantly asked the question, and they answered. They found it, so it was a great found. We never heard of it anymore on the show, but I think that was a good find, so content is approved. Abuato was my biggest view. I think it is still my biggest view, 7,000 views, and I don't understand why this one. It's just the discovery of what is an abuato. It's an old French device that made it to Canada, or actually it's a Canadian device. No, it's a French device that made it to Canada, sorry. Now remembering the story. And I emitted the suggestion that maybe it was the device used to empty water from a place, like you could dry out a swamp like this, or you could use it to feed your tunnels, and maybe it was, and it was very, very well welcomed by 7,000 views. I didn't rank that one. I would say it's good, but in the context of Oak Island, I'm not sure that's the device on land. The next series is the demonstration of the vault theory. It tackled several areas. The puzzle documents from Don Rue's book, from the scroll, from Don's Scrolls of Antera. How do you get to the vault? By using all the partial instructions we have, La Formule, and the map of Zina Halpern, and also the 90-foot stone, and which was not set at 90 foot. That's that video, which explains a little bit what we found and what we think it is. And overall, these ones are part of the foundation of what we're proposing, which is the vault theory. And if you haven't seen them all, I believe they're extremely rich, and they really make a decent proposal about the relationship between all those documents and all what we know about the island. So I definitely approve. This is kind of the core of the vault theory here. The next ones were about people living on the island. The Cabbage and Genealogy, Daniel McInnes. I must admit that Daniel Spino on Facebook, hello Daniel, is doing a tremendous job on the Oak Island Facebook page to have historical records and document and research. I congratulate him. It's 20 times better than what I propose. He stood me corrected a couple of times. Some people have. So I don't have that much access to history of the Lunenburg and etc. I'm just emitting hypothesis. But I think this is okay. It's not great. You can find better on the net. Nevertheless, if there's anything upcoming that I think is relevant, I would not hesitate to carry on videos. I actually got an information about all those people on the island, and there may be a video coming up soon. The Leon Fishbone, yeah, that was After the Volt theory, Michael and I got kind of ran off of ideas and almost of motivation, because we did it. It was, the theory was there, explained and documented and etc. And we kind of took a break because what else? What else can we talk about? It's funny because research, it's on and off, the inspiration. So I made this one because I love the story. I think it's related to a bigger circle of influence to Oak Island. I think Oak Island and Rennes-le-Château are truly connected, but the fishbone could have been also a connection. But being curious, if you ever visit Lyon, just watch this video. You might learn things about the history. And voila, that's a retrospective. That's a looking back at this year and all those videos produced. 33 videos in 52 weeks, guys. That's every 10 days almost. I got a job, as you know. And again, inspiration is on and off. At the beginning, Michael and I were so thrilled. We're talking every day almost and discovering things almost every day. It almost impaired with my job at the time, so passionate I was about it. And of course, after you reveal most of it, and we think we're done with 70%. There's still things we don't understand yet, but you told the story. So what else then? But you saw there was a rebound with the Da Vinci, and now I'm going to dig into Da Vinci's connections because there's something in there. So thank you for watching. I've got a little cherry on the pie, an Eastern egg for you, a last slide. When I was working on the St. Honorat and the Oak Island East-West lines, I visually found that they were kind of separating both islands into two parts. And Michael was kind enough to show me this. He did an overlay of Zina Halpern's geometry, the geometry of the island according to La Rochefoucauld map, which you see, as I mentioned to him, some areas are very accurate in their shape. All this is accurate in the shape, very accurate. All right? But when you get in there, all this is wrong. And just like Round Island, I think it was bigger. Let me look at the map. It's next to me. Yeah, it's a big island. And this here is different. And we don't know. Is it because it's a rough sketch? But if it's a rough sketch, how come it's very near the design of the island? As you can see, the curves are good in some areas and in some they're not. So is it an error, or was the geometry of the island, has it been changing throughout the year? We know there's some current that used to be there, and that current may bring some soil and land, but I don't think that much. It's a lot. Here again, it's not the same, it's disturbed, so we're not sure. But what's interesting is that when you do that overlay and you calculate the surface areas, north and south, separated by the Vere line, which is east-west, you get to 0.5%, you get the same surface areas. As if that line, east-west line, originating from this very point that Michael identified with the three rocks, was positioned on purpose to create that 68.5, let's say, acres on each side. I don't know. I wouldn't think it's relevant. I measured it and I did the same job and work on the St. Honorat Island, and I've got not 0.5% accuracy. I got something more than 10%, which is not good enough. So either I'm not taking the right contour and I should restrict myself to the churches, the 7 churches, polygons. I don't know, but I'm working on it, and that's the kind of work we do with Michael. Take care, everyone. Thanks again for your support. Hope to talk to you soon, and there's new videos coming up, of course. Thank you. Bye-bye.